Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Happy to introduce Scott Kleiman, who's an attorney. He's a partner with the firm of Kleiman here in Broward County. He's a 40-plus year resident of Broward County, been practicing law for over 20 years. As you saw from the flyer that went around, the primary topic that Scott's going to talk with us about today is foreclosure litigation, foreclosure defense, but he's got a varied background which he'll be able to discuss a few other areas as well that may be of interest to you, and also talk about some of his public interest work. Scott has been a commissioner with the Cooper City City Commission, was on the Planning and Zoning Board, has recently been appointed as special magistrate for the city. So when we talk about different things to do in terms of getting out there, getting your hands into different areas as far as networking and knowing how to go through business development opportunities, Scott has certainly done very well in all of those areas. And I know that we've been hearing quite a bit about foreclosure now. As we were just discussing, it's kind of like the flavor of the month, but it is a very hot area, and one that I know that many of you have expressed interest in, so we're happy to have Scott tell us about that today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Rob said, I am Scott Kleiman. I'm with Kleiman. My office is a stone's throw from here. I'm over on Griffin, just east of University. I've been there for about 15 years, and I have a very multifaceted practice. Rob's office was kind enough to email me the flyer for today, and as I was looking at it, I saw it presenting on foreclosure defense and lender creditor matters and foreclosures and lender tenant disputes, partnership and shareholder disputes, consumer and collection matters, ... And in all honesty, my office does cover all of those different areas. I guess from the description you can kind of tell I don't really have a niche practice, but I do practice in niche areas. Foreclosures are one of those areas that I do practice in presently. I'm sure, looking over what I was asked to kind of touch on and talk about, and all the speakers who come up here talk about what they do in the practice of law and how they got into the practice of law. Just out of curiosity, how many of you got through undergrad and decided whatever you were majoring in isn't what you wanted to do, or you got through your major and decided, oh wait, I really don't want to do this, or you were looking for some reality avoidance? I'm in that boat. I went to Emory University undergraduate. I majored in accounting. Found out that auditing was the last course I had to take, and that's what I was going to be doing. And the appeal of counting frozen food in a freezer in Louisiana for some food company was not really what I wanted to do. I also had worked a number of vacation times in banking, and I knew being a banker wasn't what was really in the cards for me. So I enjoyed a little reality avoidance at the University of Florida, and graduated from law school there, passed the bar, and then went to work. But while I was in law school, one of the things that I found to be an invaluable experience, and let me just ask, how many of you are first years? Okay. I know the job market out there is tight for first and second years for summers. But one of the things that I did that turned out to be a very valuable experience was I interned for a federal judge in Miami. It was a great non-paying job, but the experience I got there through the federal courts was great. And what I was able to do also was meet some of the best lawyers in South Florida. It opened up a lot of doors for future summer employment, and ultimately where I ended up getting a job, which was Stearns Weaver Miller in Miami. That connection was made through interning for free for a federal judge. It was a very good experience. I was a commercial litigator there while I was in the big firm environment. And the nice thing was that there were senior attorneys there that could teach me about lawyering, not just the law, but how to be a lawyer. For those of you after graduation who are going to consider hanging out your own shingle, I strongly urge you to find a way to get into a mentoring program or find an older, more experienced lawyer that you can just bounce things off of. It really will help you develop your practice a lot better. Because one thing that I know from years of practice is it really is truly amazing how much you don't know about what you don't know. Anyway, after a few years in big firm environment, I went to a small firm in South Miami. living in Cooper City, the commute was miserable, and I got out of that, joined my partner up here 15 years ago, and I've been commuting a whole 3 miles ever since. My litigation practice is always focused on business and real estate transactional matters. I've actually, within my practice, for 22 plus years, I've handled foreclosure matters, whether it's for the lender or for the borrower. And from that, I've gained a pretty good insight about how to handle those cases, how to resolve those cases, either through litigation or outside of litigation. But because my practice is so broad, I handle a number of different areas, and as my father always tells me, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. My retort to him, of course, is that's why lawyers are always practicing law. But in addition to being a lawyer, I'm also the managing partner of the firm, so I have administrative and business responsibilities as well. It makes the practice interesting from day to day, and it's not, and it really never does get boring because there's so many different things going on in the practice. As I said, I've been handling foreclosure work for over 22 years. It's really, as you all know, has spiked significantly in the last couple of years for a variety of reasons. The real estate market busts, subprime loans, people losing jobs, not being able to pay their mortgages. We have a lot of people who got into these cash option mortgages where they think they can pay 1.5 in interest for the first 5 years without any ramifications. What they don't know is it's a negatively amortizing loan, and suddenly their principal amount that was $300,000 has climbed by 25%, and when the loan adjusts to an amortizing loan paying principal and interest, they can't make their payments. So all of these different reasons have contributed to a rise in bankruptcies, foreclosures, and the problem that we see inundating our courts right now. A lot of different courts have tried to come up with specific foreclosure divisions to handle matters. For a while in Palm Beach County, if you wanted to have a foreclosure go through, you could probably figure on an uncontested foreclosure it would take 9 months to a year, just because the docket was so clogged. Now they've got 3 judges up there that rotate to handle these cases. It's become a little bit faster, more streamlined. But the other thing about foreclosure, the rise in foreclosures today, is that a lot of attorneys have gotten out of what used to be their primary practice, especially real estate transactional lawyers, and have decided to become foreclosure defense lawyers and litigators. A lot of these guys have never seen the inside of a courtroom in God knows how many years. Others have dove in because they think it's a way to make a quick buck. There are a number of lawyers out there, including the uncle of my associate, who are doing a lot of this, and what they tell their clients is, pay me a retainer up front, it's non-refundable, you have to pay me a non-refundable retainer every month that I handle your case. Fortunately, the bar started to crack down on this type of fee arrangement because lawyers are getting paid for doing nothing. In Miami-Dade right now, if you have a foreclosure, and I'll give you a perfect example, I got a foreclosure sale date in the case on Monday. Statute says foreclosure sale can't occur any closer than 35 days after the summary judgment is entered. My sale date's July 2nd, 2010. That's how backed up Miami-Dade is in trying to sell foreclosed properties. Some of these lawyers that have these fee arrangements that keep paying every month, if that happens to be one of their clients, they're going to pay another $4,500 over the next 9 months for a lawyer to do nothing. So that's one bad aspect of the foreclosure defense practice market. I try to handle things a little bit differently, and I think I try to do it the right way. I have clients come in, and I try to get them to go over options and discuss expectations. And I do that in every case, regardless of whether it's a foreclosure or not. But you need to understand, and the client needs to understand, what kind of options are out there and whether their expectations truly are reasonable or not. And it's an emotional thing for a lot of people, whether it's their home or an investment property, because if it's their home, obviously they want to stay there. And if it's an investment property, a lot of people feel morally obligated beyond the loan documents to make their payments. And a lot of people are trying to figure out how to do it without getting their resources bled dry, but they see their cash reserves going down the drain. So for these people, it's not just a business decision, it's an emotional matter. So when you're dealing with clients in this type of circumstance, you really have to be aware of how they're approaching things.